Right. So Trump taking over. Let's we wanna run the video first, Miggy, or how do we want to go with this?
Well, Trump taking over. I mean, yeah, we could pull up the first clip. We got
Is
Trump.
that it?
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry.
we got Trump mentioning Canada's responsibility with letting in illegals, fentanyl, etc. And he gives us an ultimatum, tariff threat to make sure we do what he's saying. Now, uh, on one side you got what they said to Trump, or what they actually did, which is sending Blackhawks, and on the other side you got what they said to the media and what they're saying to the people. We got two different narratives, so it's good to look at both. Now, Joseph, you could pull up that first article about Canada sending their Blackhawks to the border. At
Found it.
first, we got an article. If you scroll down a bit, though, just so our viewers that are watching could see,
Yeah.
I mean, here you could see, right, Canada sending Black Hawk drones to border as the clock to pacify Trump ticks down. So they're basically listening to what he's saying. If you scroll down a little bit, the third third or fourth paragraph, which is really just a sentence, says Ottawa introduces 1.3 billion in spending. So you basically got Trump saying like, okay, yeah, you guys are spending, you guys are saying that you're doing something about it, but if we don't see results, then tariffs are going up and we're going to have problems. Now you could pull up the next clip, which is basically Trudeau's response, public response to the people and to the rest of the world. Which honestly, I mean, I'll let you guys look at the, give me your thoughts, but that's pretty crazy.
All right. Let's do it.
President Trump also repeated his concerns about the border. While less than 1% of fentanyl and illegal immigrants that enter the United States come from Canada, our government has already acted to address the concerns raised by the President about border security with an over $1 billion comprehensive border plan. We're already working collaboratively to keep our citizens safe on both sides of the border. Of course, if the President does choose to proceed with tariffs on Canada, Canada will respond. And everything is on the table.
Sure.
Working in unison with Team Canada, as Team Canada, with business leaders, organized labor, civil society, Indigenous leaders, and premiers from coast to coast to coast, we are prepared for every possible scenario. In fact, just last night, I spoke to Premier Ford in his capacity as chair of the Council of the Federation, and he reiterated his unwavering commitment on behalf of Canadian premiers to working all together. This is an important and challenging moment for Canada and for Canadians, and we know there will be many such moments. Through all of it, I want to be clear that we have Canadians back. We will protect our national...
You could stop it there. So basically, there's obviously no accountability. He's saying that, oh, we're already on it, we're already working on this, but you know, we have probably a worse problem here in Canada than in the States. And then on top of that, all he's saying, well, we're open to every measure, everything is on the table, we got everybody's support, with no real response to what they're going to do once tariff goes up. You know, it's the usual classic Trudeau response. But what do you guys think about it?
I got one comment and one question. The comment is, if we start to counter tariff, it's gonna make the economy even worse. It's not. I don't think it's a positive that we counter tariff, to be honest. And question, he made the statement after he stepped down, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the other thing.
All right.
What do you
So
think, Jaden?
yeah, Julian, go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, you said me, Miggy, or Julian?
Yeah. I said you. I saw you were ready to say something.
All right. So two things I want to say. I want to touch up on the Blackhawks and securing the border. And my question is to the Liberals is why did it take a foreign administration to keep Canadians safe? Forget about the Americans. Obviously, that's their allies and whatnot. But why did it take Trump threatening and putting the Liberal Party on blast and now everybody finding out that their lives are about to get a whole lot worse because of more expensive, you know, things that they have to buy and etc. directly because of the tariffs that they're implementing on us. But once again, why did it take a foreign administration to keep Canadians safe? To highlight the fact that guns are flowing in, to hide the fact that people are being trafficked back and forth, the fact that drugs are coming in and out. Why, like, what is it like? When is our country gonna make the decisions on their own and actually do it because of the things that they caught up onto, and not because some other country highlighted our flaws and now our party decides to wake up and put citizens, us, the citizens of Canada, in first position, like to think about. Two, what was Joseph? What'd you say the second? What was the second point you talked about?
I just wanted to know if he made this press conference after he stepped down. Like, is he making
Right.
it as the prime minister, or is he just making it as like what is he right now? Like a civilian?
It's like a spokesman.
Exactly. So if they step down because the polls aren't in their favor, Canadians don't believe in him anymore. Why is he still the one negotiating the deals? Why is he still in power?
No
Is
idea.
it because our House, the Senate, was the one of the leaders, or unless he is the leader? Sorry, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he's one of the leaders, or he is the leader of, and he was an ex-liberal part of their party. So is there a conflict of interest? Why is there not? Why are we not calling it so there's an election now? And the last but not least, can we? Because he's talking a whole lot bunch of nothing there. Like, what's on the table, bro? What's on the table? How are you gonna go back against Trump and renegotiate whatever you got? Like, what do you have to negotiate? I want you to play that video real quick. That I have a screenshot of Donald Trump when he met up with Trudeau, or when he was on the phone with him. And I want you guys to really understand the type of leader we have in power, because from what Trump says, there's a whole bunch of nothing. And this guy checkmated him right there and then. And I just also want you guys to understand that when we have a leader that doesn't know economics, doesn't know how to, for example, Trump released a book, The Art of the Deal. Am I right? He knows business. He knows how to present an idea to a table and get the yeses. Trudeau doesn't seem, based on the video that Trump put out, Trudeau doesn't seem like that guy. So if you can just please play that video.
Yeah, it's the reason when he sent, right?
Yeah. So
And I,
it's the one of Trump. Yeah.
and I
Go
just
ahead.
want to make it clear because some people are gonna say, oh, Trudeau, like, oh, Trudeau's out of power, it doesn't matter anymore. But whether it's Trudeau or any, like, he's representing the Liberal Party and their beliefs. So whoever they replace him with is gonna be saying and doing the same shit. It's not gonna be any
It's a facade. All they
Yeah.
did is buy time. All they're doing now is putting another puppet in front and trying to recuperate the party and try to bring belief again. But they're all part of the same circus.
You guys
Man,
realize
they're peering.
you guys realize why they don't want to do a re-election right now, right? Because like technically, if it stepped down, it should be called for a re-election now.
It should be.
It
That would
should be,
what
but they're waiting for this pension plans that they have, which it's like $1 million pension plan that goes out to all of them. And if they
And the NDP,
if they
right?
put it ahead, a lot of those people who were supposed to get these pension plan that comes out of our fucking tax money, they're not gonna get it. So it's like a
Yeah, I'm
whole scheme
sorry.
of waiting for that. It's
Yeah. The
disgusting.
pension plans after destroying a country, being 6 to 8 years in power, and then us
Crazy.
Canadians also trusting a liberal party to do the deals that they obviously can't do anything against Trump, and we're pretty much putting people without an idea of how to fix a situation to continue strictly because of their pension plans. Where we're not even going to have pension plans because of these people.
Yep.
So let's play the video and let Trump say how Trudeau dealt with the negotiating.
I call him Governor Trudeau, but he's
Hold on, let me.
Prime Minister Trudeau when he was Prime Minister. I asked him, why would we do that? Why? And he was unable to give me an answer. He said, I don't know. And I said, do you think it's fair that we're paying
Pause it.
$200 million to keep...
If you're going to meet up with Trump and you're there to negotiate deals, do you not think that Trump is going to ask you, how are you going to fix the situation? Are you not prepared for that question and what you're willing to say to rebound on what he has to say?
Bro, but
This guy's
that's
dead ass. This guy dead ass went to a negotiating table, got asked this question that was obviously gonna be asked, and then said, "I don't know," as his way of thinking.
yeah, but that's like a perfect reflection of how politics works for these people. They don't expect no results. They just come up with false solutions to get income, to get like people to like reasons to where we're gonna spend our money, but they don't really have a plan in place. That and
Yeah, just
the thing is, they meet with other politicians who are also not looking for a solution. They're just looking to get money out of people, right? But you come up to a person like Trump, who's a businessman, who knows like, okay, like we need to have us like if we're gonna ask the people to put their tax money into this, we gotta give them some type of result, right?
Thank
Right,
you, Elia,
right.
for following. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Cheat, cheat, cheat.
Let's go play.
Yeah.
Canada going, and what would happen? I asked him, what would happen if we didn't do that, if we didn't subsidize Canada? He said, we'd be a failed nation. And I said, then you should be a state. Because why are we paying all of that money to Canada?
Do you
when-
understand this guy, man? That's pretty much the whole clip. We can end it right there. He's there to represent Canada. He's there to represent Canada. And then he literally said out of his own mouth, if we don't get subsidized by Americans, we are a failed nation. This guy doesn't even believe in the idea of what it is to be a Canadian and what the things we can provide and the things we can do. He didn't go there to promote us. He didn't go there with ideas of ways we can sell on the idea of what it means to be a partner with Canada. He was there to be a yes man without any idea of anything that has to do with what Trump was there to actually do. Insanity that these guys are still in power. And they're the ones, that's going to be negotiating these tariffs and how to go back on them. And we literally have no chance if these guys continue being in power of Canada. Pierre, on the other hand, he has an economics background. He knows he was one of the guys under Harper. Harper was one of the was number one G7 in country in terms of budget, about budget balance. Canadians were doing amazing, but no, we're being ran by a pretty face that knows how to talk and present an idea that doesn't know how to deliver on.
Drama teacher.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Drama teacher.
Let me ask you guys a question, and I want to see if you guys like what your answers are. Have you heard the term the illusion of choice?
Yes.
Do you know what that
Right.
means?
Yeah, that you've got the illusion of a choice.
Right. So there's a lot of people that believe that's how the government is run. That there's an illusion of choice. That we got so many parties, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever.
Yeah.
But in reality, they're all in this like plan together, like to divide people even more, right? Like the lefts go with the left, the right go with the right, and you get this illusion that you're picking the right person, right? Like right now, people have the illusion that Donald Trump is the savior of society because he's bringing back a lot of morals that were lost over the years, like,
Yeah.
the liberty to speak, like the.
I get what you're saying, though. I
Right?
get what you're saying.
But
yeah.
what if in a couple years it ends up being that he's not the savior, kind of like the Stargate program he's bringing forth, that I don't agree with, or like the whole vaccine thing with the
Yes.
AI system, or the cancer vaccine where they can like look at your body with all like, he's giving a lot of over the years coming up to his presidency, like a lot of things that make people think like, yeah, he's the right choice, but right as soon as he's president now, I'm getting a lot of weird vibes from it. And it's kind of like making me think like, were they always in this thing together? Like, did they make him look like something people should vote for just so that he'd be in power? And then now that he's in power, it doesn't matter what he does? Because that's what the illusion of power is. That's what the illusion of choice is. They make you think like, yeah, you're choosing the right thing. But then now when it comes to it, it's like, did I choose the right thing? Like,
Yes.
am I backing the right person? Like, do they not care anymore now that they have power? They're already in office. That we can't take them out for 4 years. So
I just do believe actions speak for themselves, and when you quite literally see people struggling because of the things and policies that these people put in place. I'd rather at least have somebody who puts, like, if I'm seeing my life get better or is better because of direct impact of executive orders or policies put in place and foreign negotiations, etc., then to me that means my life is better. So I'm going based on that. If we go back on the Biden administration, I think it was a chaos from day one. Wars started happening, funding to this started happening, print money here, print money there. So, right. So as much as you are right that it could be an illusion of choice, I also still think that if the pendulum switch goes one way, it must go the other way. Now I'm not trying to have it. Now I'm not trying to have it go all the way that way. But at least let's go back to center. Let's go back to reality.
But what if that
Yeah.
was a chess move? Like make someone look so bad that the next choice isn't even that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like make the 4 years of Biden's presidency look like so shit that you're just looking for any way to get out of it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
And
I
now,
mean,
Joe, you
we,
talked about a
And
project
think about,
Stargate.
yeah, hold on. Just think about this. If the because there's the government that we all know, the face of it, but there's the hidden government which is controlled by the central
corporation.
banks, right? It's controlled by these corporations, controlled by the big people. If they have that much power, you don't think they can influence all parties, not just one single party?
100%, but I'd rather them being controlled by certain corporations than others.
Well, that's the thing.
That's
If you
because
look
that's
at
inevitable.
if
When
you
I
look at
like,
if you look at what BlackRock is, BlackRock is literally the owner of every single company. And one of the strategies they do is they get two of the same companies that sell the same type of products to look like they're fighting, to look like they're actually enemies so they can sell more to get that rivalry. But they benefit of either one. So you gotta
Yeah.
think it's like, are they really separate? It's like no, BlackRock owns all these companies, the ones that are going bankrupt and the ones that are thriving.
Yes.
So
They
yeah,
own it all.
you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying about the illusion. We as the people have to realize that, like, don't get too caught up in what you think is right, because it's all really part of one person, one thing, one little group of people that are really controlling. Like if you look at all these companies, you think, oh yeah, I'm Pepsi. No, I'm Coke. It's like, no, brother, they're both together.
no, and I honestly, like, I do see what you're saying, and I do agree. It's just I'm trying to work with what I'm being given to choose from, right? Like, yeah, you're right. These some of these corporations are monopolizing, and there is greed, and they could be causing wars. BlackRock, like examples, etc. But like, I'm only presented with certain idea, right, and certain way of going. So if those are the only options on the table, I'm gonna pick my best option of what I think based on
Yeah.
my research and my information to make the best decisions for my life and the people around me, my family, etc.
It's just to keep an
Um,
eye open,
but
kind of
if
like
you're,
Candace
yeah,
said, you know?
if you're saying the government is part of all the same you know part of the same group and we should just take it take it out is like I don't have that power and I'm not really trying to go that way because I also understand how important it is to keep people in society um in line in a way.
Yeah.
We, if there is no line to follow, there's chaos. And when you go into that type of area, now you're talking about savagery, and we're just gonna fall off. But
Yeah.
anyways, I don't know.
No, my point is just like, choose the best option that you have at any moment, but always keep an eye open and don't put people in a pedestal just because they've done something you agree with. Like always have
I
the
agree,
eye
and this
to like
I
to
agree.
check them if
I
they do
agree.
something weird. Like I agree with Trump a lot of the things he said, but recently with the thing with the vaccines, I'm not a fan of that at all. So that's
Yeah, so
making me
we're
look
gonna
at
be
him
touching up on
in a
that. We will
weird
be
way.
touching up on
Yeah.
that in a little bit.
I think Julian wanted something to say.
No, I just you mentioned Project Stargate, which I know nothing about, so I'd like for you to teach me and tell me a little bit more about it.
So hold
Yeah,
on, hold
just
on,
go
hold
over
on.
there.
So we're gonna be touching on that. We still have a little bit to go over. So we went over the Trump Trudeau negotiating deals back and forth and the border. Now we have President Milley that has some stuff to say about obviously Trump coming to power and the WEF. So if we can run that video.
Uh, that one would be which one? The Argentinian president?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just pull it up right now.
So, but Before we watch it, it's basically, yeah, President of Argentina, Milei, speaks at the World Economic Forum conference, calling out their ideas and ideologies. Him and Trump are one of the only leaders to do so. I think you were mentioning, Adrian, that you saw Pierre also speaking out against the WEF and what they're trying to do. Now, Milei's always been a fan of Trump. He mentions him again in this speech as he speaks on the importance of freedom, economic prosperity, and keeping people informed with the truth. So, if you're a Trump fan or you're just interested in another country's leader's opinion, I suggest you watch the full speech. But here's like a little clip, getting an idea of just a small part of what he was calling him out for, even though he said a lot. And I think a lot of what he said is definitely important.
So so to the some of the new people to this video, and I'm like not aware of the idea. So WEF is World Economic Forum, where pretty much the most highest influencers around the world, whether it's politicians, CEOs,
Billionaires.
etc., go to a Switzerland, Davos, right? Am I correct? And they
Yeah.
have a meeting, and they talk about which direction the world should be going. So it's pretty much a globalist meeting in a way. That's what average people would call it. So let's play the video.
Is it not true that right now, as we speak, in the UK, citizens are being imprisoned for exposing horrifying crimes committed by Muslim migrants? Crimes that the government seeks to conceal? Or didn't the bureaucrats in Brussels suspend Romania's elections simply because they didn't like the party that had won? Faced with each of these discussions, wokeism's first strategy is to discredit those of us who challenge these things. First by labeling us, and then by silencing us. If you're white, you must be racist. If you're a man, you must be a misogynist or part of the patriarchy. If you're rich, you must be a cruel capitalist. If you're heterosexual, you must be heteronormative, homophobic, or transphobic. For every challenge, they have a label. And then they try to suppress you by force or through legal means. Because beneath the rhetoric of diversity, democracy, and tolerance that they so often preach, what truly lies is their blatant desire to eliminate dissent, criticism, and ultimately freedom, so they can continue to uphold a model in which they are the main beneficiaries. Haven't we heard only recently how certain European leading authorities and quite reddish, I should say, actually have made open appeals to censorship? Actually, there is no censorship, but rather this idea that you need to silence those who don't partake in the woke ideology.
Yeah, so I agree. This guy's straight up calling everybody out, which is something we should definitely see more often.
Big balls on that guy. He might get killed.
Yeah.
He always speaks openly. Yeah, I know. I knew Miguel liked him. Miguel liked him.
And
You guys heard about it before?
Pierre.
Sorry.
No, and I was just gonna say Pierre agrees on the same thing. So if you want to pull up the screenshot I have of Pierre, Pierre also stood up for Canadians and against the WEF ideas back in 2020 during that whole situation, because they were still with the whole process of closing countries down, being social distancing, infringing our rights. And I first started hearing Pierre around that time zone of calling these people out.
Yeah.
World Economic Forum elites are again meeting, talk about how you'll own nothing and be happy. Yes, that's actually a true quote from one of their meetings. And Pierre is once again calling them out on it. An agenda carbon tax, Carney, and Christian Freeland shares, which is the liberal runners. And right below it says, sign here to ban all ministers from any involvement in WF and let Canadians take back control of their lives. I'm 100% with that. How could you not love that?
Yeah, I agree. We definitely don't want that future.
And so now we're going to jump back into BRICS. So the Trump effect on the BRICS and the pretty much the chaos of the world and how it like in the direction it was going and where he's trying to go right now. So one of the orders that he put in place, it's called DOGE, Department of something like pretty much being efficient with their spending. And one of the things that they came up with was stopping all funding to all countries around the world except for a very few, which, if I'm not mistaken, is Israel, Egypt, and Jordan. And that's because of treaties that they have in place. But every other aid around the world is now going to stop. And this goes into BRICS because Trump is open to the idea of bringing peace to the world again. Right? BRICS is a big threat to the dollar. Why? Because pretty much all the enemies, big players like Russia, like China, like Iran, like I'm pretty sure Brazil signed up to it. These are big countries, big economies that are signing up with them. And yes, while they might not be as strong as they intend to be in the future, they are building a foundation, right? So Trump being aware of this, he's trying to stop all the wars. He's trying to bring somewhat of a peace in the Middle East. He is trying to make a deal between Russia and Ukraine so that they stop, killing each other and bringing a peace of mind and pretty much showing the other big players at the table that he's willing to play a negotiation and sit down and bring about the peace talks so that way everybody's more happy than they're not. So you want to take over that one, Migs?
Sure. So like you said, you got BRICS holding here we got BRICS holding a meeting discussing U.S.'s leadership, Putin willing to discuss peace deal, and Trump responds on Truth Social. So Joseph, you want to pull that up?
We're also open for dialogue with the new US administration on the Ukrainian conflict. The most important thing here is to eliminate the fundamental reason for the conflict. That's the most important. And as for settling the situation itself, its goal should be not a brief ceasefire, not just getting some time to regroup and rearm and carry on the conflict, but long-term peace based on respect to lawful interests of all people and nationalities living in the region. And of course, we're going to fight for the interests of Russia and its people. This is actually the goal and point of the special military operation. We're also open for dialogue with the new US administration on the Ukrainian conflict. The most important thing here is to eliminate the fundamental reason for the conflict. That's the most important. And as for settling the situation itself, its goal should be not a brief ceasefire, not just getting some time to regroup and rearm and carry on the conflict, but long-term peace based on respect to law.
Okay, so I think we get the idea of this one.
Yeah.
I just want to also point out with the BRICS situation, right? So BRICS came in place when this war went off. The moment this war started and all the sanctions went against Russia, Russia had to think of ways to, recuperate in terms of economics. So they obviously reached out to the big boys, enemies of the states, and that's how they formed this idea. First, they went to.
Sorry, I just wanted. Wasn't it because of the price of oil was going up because of the war?
Exactly, direct reason because of the war.
No, but I'm talking about like BRICS, like maybe Russia, but like the other countries like Saudi Arabia, Brazil, like all of them were doing it for that reason because of the price for the dollar,
why?
The dollar
because,
price of the
why?
thing. Yeah, no, because the war started. It's
because the war, because because EU stopped buying their oil.
Yes, yeah.
So now they had to find different ways to sell their oil.
Yeah.
Or buy and sell, export, import. So then they went to those countries and then they started negotiating deals and then they came up with this idea.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So going back to the point you made earlier, the illusion of choice. Well, one administration did harm to the country, while this new administration is trying to fix it. Mm-hmm. Right? So yes, as much as there is an illusion of choice,
there's a reality,
you gotta question which interest are they fighting for. I'd rather pick the illusion, at least they're fighting for my interest.